Hi, I'm Jodi Barrows with the Square and a Square System, and today I want to show you how easy it is to figure the borders that you need for your quilts. And we're going to use the three most common options of the Square and a Square System, which is option 1, square and a square, option 3, flying geese, and option 4, half square triangles. You will need a pencil and a piece of paper, so let's get started. Okay, to get started figuring borders for your quilts, there's a few simple things, and once you know how to do those, then any border is easy to figure, and of course the Square and a Square System will make your units easy to make. So you will need your Square and Square Volume 1 reference book, and everything I'm going to tell you is in the book, and we're going to be on page 43 and 44, which is what we call the pattern adapting. So that's when you want to take your own design or a pattern out of a magazine and adapt it over to the system. So let's say that you want to build a border on your quilt. The first thing you have to do is get your quilt to where it's an easy measurement to work with. You don't want to work with a 38 1/8 by 41 7/8. Get it to an easy number. So the first step is make your quilt an easy size to work with. And the way that you do that is you sew a little sashing or a little frame around your quilt. Get it to an easy number, a number that's divisible by 2 or a number that's divisible by 5. Now remember, you also must work with the sewn measurements. That means the smaller measurement. Sewn size, graph paper size, or a finished size. The other size is a larger size, which we call the raw edge, the cut edge, or an unfinished. See, this block is unfinished, so let's say that it's 3.5. That means it was sewed down to 3 inches. So you've got to work with the sewn size, the smaller number. So let's say that draw your little quilt out. You can just do it real simple, just like I have here, whether you're working with a big quilt or a small quilt. And we have sewn a frame around our quilt like we showed in the picture to get it to an easy number to work with. So let's say that our quilt is 20 by 40. And let's say that we want to do flying geese just like this, all in a row, going all the way around. So let's say that our flying goose is what we call a perfect rectangle, meaning that if it's 2 inches sewn here, you double it and it's 4 inches here. So if it's 2 inches sewn here, you double it, it's 4 inches here. So a 2 by 4. So if we're going to sew the short side of that flying goose to our quilt, then 2 inches is the number that we want to work with. That's the sewn measurement, 2 inches. So if we divide 2 into 4, which fits nicely, that means that we're going to get 20 flying goose all in a row, 20 flying geese all in a row on the long sides, because it was 40 inches on the long side. 2 into 40 means that you're going to get 20 flying geese along the side. And if our short side of the quilt is 20 inches, 2 into 20 is 10. So that means when we sew the flying goose along the side, then we'll get 10 of those here. Now, once you know that you need a 2 by 4 flying goose, then you're just going to come in here to your charts that start in on page 34 of your reference book, and you're going to go to your option 3, flying geese, and it says what is the sewn size you're looking for. So we'll just come in here, and there's the 2 by 4, and when you move across, it says 3 3/4 for your center square and 2 1/8 for the strips that you're going to sew around it. So that, in a nutshell, is how you would figure flying geese. Now let's say that you want half square triangles all in a row. You would do the same thing. If this is a 2-inch sewn, divide 2 into the side of your quilt, and that will tell you the size and how many that you need. And then once again, just go back over to your chart, and it will tell you the sizes of your squares and your strips. So it's easy to do the half square triangles, the flying geese, or the option 1s. Look how beautiful just a scrappy border of option 1s would be going around your quilt. So if this is a 4-inch sewn, you would figure 4 inches into your quilt. Let's say it's 40 inches on one side. That means you're going to have 10 of these going around your quilt. And I think probably the biggest tip for you is to realize that don't work with a number that is not easy to work with. Just put the little frame around your quilt, getting it to an easy size to work with. I suggest that you make your quilt either divisible by 2 or divisible by 5. Those will be the easiest to figure for your borders going around your quilt. Let's look at a couple of flying goose borders because I think those are pretty exciting. So think about how you can do flying geese, traditional, all going around your quilt. So this would be on one side, this would be the other side, and then if you wanted the geese to all circle around, which I would suggest, then you would go around. Now let's look at some of these other ones. Here we have flying geese where they are what I call flip-flop. So it goes to the left, then the nose goes to the right, nose to the left, nose to the right. And this will give you a nice ribbon turn look for your borders of your quilt. Or you may want all of the flying geese going the same direction. And you need to think about, do you want the color to be in on your quilt? Or do you want the long side of your flying goose? You want that color. For example, in this one here in our reference book, let's go to our turkey tracks. Let's see if I can find our turkey tracks here. So in this one, look at this beautiful border. And these are all just flying geese. And they're the flying geese all going one direction. So that would be like this, where all the noses are going the same direction. So see this long body side? Look how we have the long body side up next to the inside of the quilt. Or maybe you want to turn it and put what would be here, the red, or what I have here is the color. Maybe you want to flip it and that to be along the side of the quilt. Now, another neat thing to do with flying geese is when you put 2 rows, let me see if I can find my other row. There, no, I've lost them. Okay, let's say that you want to put 2 rows together of your flying geese. And you could do something like this where they are going the same direction, where the noses are going together. Same direction, noses going together. Now, when you get to these corners of the quilt, you have a square here that you need to do something with. When you put 2 flying geese together, since they are what we call the perfect rectangle, meaning like a 2 by 4, if you take that side and double it, that's what the long side is. See how this would go in that corner, whether you turned them this way or this way. So you could put 2 together to fill in for those corners. The main thing is not to be intimidated by borders or units, and to just sit down and start working with it when your head is clear, and just start playing with it. The more you do, the better you'll get, and the more that you'll learn. So here you could see how, if you wanted to put noses together to make your units like this. I love how this would make a little scrappy unit coming together. That is really a pretty border. I love that one. But just have fun playing with your units and using the square and the square system. Anytime you have any questions or need any help with anything, remember to email us, and maybe you'll do a video on it, and we'll for sure get back to you and give you the help that you need so that you can have beautiful quilts that are fast, fun, and fabulous. Remember to subscribe and give us a thumbs up on our YouTube channel.